Wham bam, lost his mind, went all in on Teslacam.
Benjamin was driving his Model 3 in France. When he approached an intersection, a driver in a Renault approached from behind. As they made the turn, the other driver immediately started to overtake before a blind crest. Right after finishing the pass, he started brake-checking Benjamin. Benjamin had no idea what was going on, so he stopped. That's when the Renault driver jumped out of his car and started punching the window of the Tesla. Benjamin immediately hit the accelerator and got out of there. His Tesla has double pane windows, so even though the guy looked like he could throw a hard punch, he didn't damage the glass. Benjamin's theory is that the guy was probably so hungry from working out, he must have gotten very hangry. Igor was driving on I-44 in St. Louis, Missouri when he was hit from behind before the offending driver just took off, turning it into a hit and run. Igor called the police and told them what happened. The other driver's vehicle didn't have a front license plate, and Igor never had a clear view of the rear license plate, but he did manage to capture the guy's face on video. Unfortunately, the police said that there isn't much they can do without a license plate number. Igor filed a claim with his insurance provider, and it's estimated that repairs will take 3 months to complete. It was 5:30 in the morning, and Johann was on his way out the door with his dog when he got a push notification on his phone that the alarm on his Model X had been triggered. Johann's wife looked out the window and saw that the car next to their Tesla was in flames. Johann knew he had to try to move the Tesla before the flames grew bigger, so he rushed out to the car. It was plugged into a charging station that had already begun to melt, but he got the charge handle unplugged and was able to get inside the Tesla to move it. In the meantime, Johann's wife called the fire department and they were quick to arrive on the scene. We're betting they're happy Johann was able to move the Tesla in time. Let's be honest, we're all happy he moved it, as we really don't need to see yet another misleading "Tesla catches fire" news headline. They don't know what caused the fire, but Johann thinks it was due to a malfunction in the other car's engine heater. Johann filed an insurance claim, and the cost estimate came in at around $10,000 US. He was told the repairs will take about a week. His service appointment is in a few weeks, so in the meantime he's driving around in the burnt Tesla, which he's nicknamed Bumblebee. When he drops off his kids at school, all the other kids come running out to look at the burnt Bumblebee and want to hear the story of the fire. Waco was sitting in traffic in Atlanta, Georgia, when a pickup truck jumped over the median and entered the opposing lane. The driver of a Toyota wasn't ready for this stunt and rear-ended the smooth operator of the pickup truck. Waco turned back to see if both drivers were okay, and they were safe and sound. He gave his Teslacam video to the Toyota driver, and he was thankful for the footage. Waco talked to him for some time, and he mentioned that he was an Uber driver delivering his last ride for the day. Waco felt bad for the guy. What a way to end a work shift. A texting teenage girl made an unsafe lane change into the lane occupied by Chelsea's Model 3. Chelsea honked and hit the brakes when the other driver started to change lanes, but she wasn't quite quick enough. This ultimately resulted in her right mirror getting knocked off, as well as dents and scratches all along the passenger side fender and door. Police were contacted and arrived at the scene very quickly. They filed insurance claims, and the teenager's insurance will be covering the repair cost, which was estimated at $3,000 US. Andrew was driving his Model 3 in Chagrin Falls, Ohio, when he spotted a pickup truck flying up in his rearview mirror. The pickup driver decided to pass 5 cars going up a hill across a double yellow line, almost hitting a vehicle head-on that was coming down the hill. He missed the other car by mere inches, but in the process, he forced a box truck to veer off the road. Andrew was able to catch up and get a picture of the license plate, which he then sent to the police along with the Teslacam video. He hasn't heard anything back yet. Abraham was driving his Model 3 in Kent, Washington. There was heavy traffic, and he'd stopped for a red light up ahead. A Prius driver was taking a turn through the line of cars waiting for the red light, but he failed to check for traffic that was still coming in the turn lane. Abraham stopped and shared his Teslacam footage with both drivers, and he hopes it will help them in their respective insurance claims. Min was driving his Model X in Saratoga, California. Autopilot was engaged when the driver of a Model 3 didn't see him and merged straight into his lane. Autopilot didn't react at all, so Min took over and swerved, almost veering off the road. It would be interesting to know if the other Tesla was also using Autopilot. If so, shouldn't Teslas communicate a little better? Beep boop boop. Mark was delivering food for Uber in his Model 3 in the San Pedro area of Los Angeles, California. When the light turned green, the car in front of him turned left and suddenly went into opposing lanes and charged toward another car. Mark had no idea what the other driver was doing. He's new to San Pedro and he wasn't sure if there was a left turn coming up, so he didn't honk or anything. After a few seconds, the other driver crashed into the oncoming car. Mark stopped and talked to the driver of the white SUV and offered him the Teslacam video, but he was confused and didn't seem to know what to do. Unfortunately, Mark didn't have much time to help them because he was in a hurry to drop off the Uber order, but he left his contact info with the driver. He also asked us to give a shout out to his wife Georgia, as she's a big fan of the channel. Hey Georgia, Mark wanted us to tell you that he loves you. Alex was trying to make a right turn at a traffic light when a ute in another lane making the same turn pushed its way into his lane and nearly crashed into Alex's Model 3. Alex honked at him to let him know he was in his lane, but he just kept pushing. Eventually, Alex had to brake and let him in. Alex thinks he did it on purpose, as New Zealand is taxing utes to subsidize EVs, and some ute drivers are not happy and choose to bully EVs on the road. Martin was driving his Model 3 in Denmark when he suddenly witnessed a crash. The driver of a car was about to make a left turn and she came to a complete stop on the road just before getting hit from behind. Martin stopped and called emergency services while others were rushing to the scene. While he was on the phone with the police, he saw that the woman was about to climb out of her car. He noticed that the car was very unstable and could tilt over, so he yelled, "Watch out!" Seconds later, the car tilted back to its normal position after the weight shifted from the driver getting out. Had Martin not yelled, some of the rescuers could have ended up in that same ambulance with the driver. Fortunately, nobody was injured. Joey was driving along and obeying the speed limit in Schertz, Texas. He had his indicator on to make a left turn, and the guy behind him was getting way too close. The tailgater couldn't wait until he was out of the lane to pass him and proceeded to flip him off. Joey's guessing that the speed limit was too slow for that guy. Joey says his corgi saw the whole thing from the back window and she did not approve. Talk about having solid witnesses, Teslacam and a dog. Jim was driving down the highway in Cupertino, California. He was minding his own business when an aggressive driver tried to swerve into his lane. Jim thought it was strange, but didn't think anything of it. Later, when he was changing lanes to get to the off-ramp, there was the same car again. This time, the driver purposely brake-checked his Tesla, which also triggered the forward collision warning. Jim can't help but wonder, what's wrong with people nowadays? Phil was driving his Model 3 in Melbourne, Australia, when he witnessed a pretty spectacular lightning strike. Phil considers this a sign of good luck, as nothing bad or unexpected happened for the rest of the drive. Millard was on his way home from a dental appointment in Shanghai, China, when a black Model 3 made an illegal lane change as he crossed a single white line. Up ahead, there were two law enforcement officers on the road who immediately flagged down the Tesla driver. Millard tells us that many drivers in Shanghai, despite knowing the strict road laws, still choose to ignore them. It's rare that the police are able to immediately apprehend those lawbreakers. Daniel was driving his Tesla in Waco, Texas. As he entered a construction zone, he had a bad feeling about the stop signs that had been placed to keep people from driving straight across a road with lots of fast-moving traffic. One guy didn't notice the stop sign and was just following along with traffic. When it was his turn, he just rolled through the stop sign without looking and got T-boned. After stopping, Daniel made sure everyone was okay before taking off. It wasn't until later that he realized he'd captured the accident on his Teslacam. Daniel hopes the crash victims will find this video here on Wham Bam if they need it for insurance purposes, even though it was pretty obvious to everyone who was at fault. Manuel spent what he describes as 3 very intense hours in Miami traffic. He managed to capture 3 stories, 1 per hour, not bad. Let's take a look. In the first one, he was driving by some big cruise ships in the harbor when an airplane suddenly came in to land on the water. We've got to agree, this is definitely Miami scenery right here. Second, he was sitting at a red light when a motorcycle came flying by with the police in hot pursuit. Manuel felt like he was in the middle of a Bad Boys movie. Airplanes, motorcycles, police chases, what's next? Finally, to wrap up the night, as he was leaving Miami, he witnessed a slow-speed crash by a distracted driver. Manuel didn't have any follow-up to this story other than the fact that he's not going back to Miami for a while. It's crazy. Odin was driving his Model Y on I-70 near the airport in Indianapolis, Indiana, when the car in front of him suddenly lost control and performed a rather gracious drift. Then he just kept on driving. Okay, we've got 2 more things we need to address. Coming up, we're finally going to announce the winner of our latest joke competition. But first, we need to talk about a mistake in last week's video. Right when he was about to overtake a silver Chevrolet, a Chrysler was accidentally identified as a Chevy, and boy, you guys were quick to tell us about it. I'm blaming this one on Wham Bam. He's the one that writes the script, but cut him some slack, okay? He's from Sweden and all they drive are Volvos over there, so I'm sure he knows all the Volvo models. What's funny about the Chevy mistake is that it wasn't just mentioned once in the video. Let's count how many times we called it a Chevy. Right when he was about to overtake a silver Chevrolet, the Chevy suddenly merged. Tried to go around the Chevy, but every time he tried, the Chevy driver sped around both Jason and the Chevy driver and proceeded to brake check the Chevy. After that, the Chevy driver finally stopped harassing Jason. That's the Tesla community. Okay, can we all just agree to call every Chrysler 300 a Chevy now? Okay, moving on. We ran a joke competition where we asked you to comment with your best joke explaining why these turkeys were running around an SUV. The winner gets this sweet Wham Bam hoodie. Well, we selected a winner and here it is. Drum roll, please. Since the SUV didn't have Sentry mode, the turkeys were keeping the car covered from all sides on behalf of Dashcam. Wham Bam, congrats, man. A hoodie is coming your way. Have a great week, everyone. I hope you all spot a Chevy 300 on the roads.